Good afternoon, everybody. It's Friday, and it's the Mrs. Pick 6. Only today I have a special. I'm going to hand you 8 games today. I'm going to give you 6 games with the spreads and the 2 New York games at the end, as always. And then I will talk about the Giants, the big whiteout Giants-Cowboys Monday night game. We'll go into it in detail about some of the things the Giants would need to do to win this game and some of the dangers that the Dallas Cowboys pose in this game. I tell you, there's some teams in the NFL going into week 3 in a league where they play for pay. There's some teams that are going in 0-2 and are in bad situations. And this is a league where history shows you that if you've gone 0-3, good luck. Your season's pretty much over. 0-3 is not a place you want to find yourself. Let's talk about some of those teams. The Carolina Panthers are 0-2. Coach Rule, his seat is beyond warm. It's starting to get hot to the point where he might want to just jump up and pop out of it. He's on a hot seat. He's got a very impatient owner in Carolina who wants to win. The coach came in with promise and things were supposed to be looking up this year. Well, the Carolina Panthers are 0-2 coming off a loss to the football Giants, and they're playing the Saints this week. And they're going to want to get off that losing streak. They're at home. And I tell you what, if Carolina ever lost this game and went to 0-3, I wouldn't be shocked if that coach is beyond the hot seat. It might be over for Coach Rule. Yeah, he's that close to danger to being fired. I think it's a must-win for Carolina in the worst way. Not only for their season, but for this coach's short NFL career. So you know what? There's other teams in this league that don't want to find themselves 0-3. The Indianapolis Colts are 1 tie and 1 loss. And the problem with the Colts is they had high expectations this year, bringing in Matty Ice. They have a strong team with maybe the best O-line in the league. And they have a tie and a loss, and the problem is those tie and losses came to 2 divisional teams which they were highly expected to beat. The Colts are one of the first, I think they might be the first team in history that were favored by 7 or more points in each game against the 2 expected to be bad division teams, all right? The Jaguars, the Texans, and the Jaguars. And in those 2 games where they were favored by 7 or more, they tied with the Texans in week 1. And they got blown out and embarrassed 24-0 to the Jaguars in week 2. Yeah, that young baby Jaguars, okay? And Lawrence. So that's a bad look. The Colts have 0-3 staring them in the face. And that's not what they want. Because they are way too talented for their season to be on the brink. Now, luckily for them, they're in a bad division where another team in their division is 0-2, the Tennessee Titans. The Titans, who have been one of the elite teams in the league the last few years under coach Herbal, and a strong physical team led by a bull of a running back, Derrick Henry, find themselves at 0-2. They had a bad loss at home to open the season to the young football Giants. And then they got their faces blown right out of the stadium in Buffalo last Monday night. I believe 41-7. Okay? Their season's not over. But again, another team that doesn't want to be 0-3. And the problem for the Titans is they're playing another desperate animal. The 0-2 Raiders, who have expectations this year and are a very talented football team with a strong defensive line. And that's another team that doesn't want to be 0-3 in a division like the AFC West. Because good luck climbing out of an 0-3 hole in a division with Kansas City, the Chargers, and Denver. So that's a big-time desperation game between the Raiders and Titans, because one of their seasons will be saved and another season could be finished right here in week 3. On the other hand, you have some teams in this league that are 2-0 and have an opportunity to really step their season up. You know, you're 2-0 and you weren't expected to be 2-0. You have a chance to go to 3-0 and send a message to the league. And also give yourself a lock of that you're going to have a season this year. Put yourself in a spot where even if you had a losing streak in the middle of the season, you are going to be a contender for the playoffs come late December and early January. All right? The Miami Dolphins are one of them. They have a monster game against the 2-0 Buffalo Bills, who we all expect to be 2-0. The Bills are heavily favored to go to the Super Bowl this year. They're going to be somewhere near the Super Bowl. I can guarantee you they will be at least in the AFC title game. So the Bills being 2-0 is not shocking. But the Miami Dolphins, led by young Tua, and a team that's emerging as a very strong offensive team. We knew the names were on the roster. We knew they had the players. But they never seemed to come out on the field and produce what's on paper. Well, this year the Dolphins are 2-0, and they made a monster comeback against the Baltimore Ravens last week. Okay? And it opened up a lot of eyes around the country. The Miami Dolphins are 2-0, and they will host the 2-0 Buffalo Bills in what's going to be an early season epic football game. Now, the Bills can win the game. It's probably expected. They're favored by 5.5, I believe, in Miami. It wouldn't be shocking. But the Bills are missing a few players, and they're going to play Miami twice. And they're traveling to Miami, and that's the big part of this game. It's in Miami. And if the Miami Dolphins were able to pull this game out and raise themselves to 3-0, they promised themselves what's going to turn out to be a big season for them. Another team that has turned out to be a surprising team this year. They have emerged at 2-0, ahead of schedule. The young football New York Giants. The New York Giants are 2-0, led by a strong defense. And the physical legs of Saquon Barkley. And a bunch of young kids that are hungry and playing hard like they have a lot to prove. And they do. And most of all, an extremely competent, educated coaching staff that is ready and has put this team and players in positions to win games by being aggressive and taking chances. And the players have bought in to Coach Dabo and Wink. And so the Giants find themselves 2-0, very close, tight games as you expect from a young team that's growing, that you probably didn't expect to be 2-0. But they are. The ball's bouncing right for them this year. And it's been a long time coming after 5 or 6 terrible years of football. And they will host the division-hated rival, the Dallas Cowboys, without their starting quarterback on Monday night in front of 90,000. The Cowboys come in here with a very strong defense, ranked among the top in the league. Okay? They abused and used the Cincinnati Bengals last week, led by what I consider right now, today, and it's no surprise to me if you guys have been listening to me for 3 years. He's right now, today, you can argue, the single best player in the NFL, Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons is a beast. He's a lion off the edge. And if you looked real quick and didn't realize, and a lot of Giant fans may not like the comparisons, this kid reminds you, and I'm not saying he is him, but he reminds you of modern-day Lawrence Taylor. Which, how fitting, Lawrence Taylor will be in the building Monday night, 90,000 strong in front of the nation, as the Giants call for a whiteout. The entire stadium will be lit up in white. And this fan base is hungry as hell. So the Cowboys are walking into it. And you're going to deal with the Giants stadium and fan base, the noise that you haven't heard around here, arguably since the playoff game when they beat Atlanta in 2011. And you know what? This man Parsons is wrecking the league off the edge. A stand-up linebacker, okay? I believe it's 17 sacks in his first 19 games, okay? I think that's a historic number. You can't argue. You can't say anything negative because he has no negative. His game is pure beast right now. And the Giants are going to have to come up with a way to stop him. Evan Neal will not stop this guy alone. He just won't. He's too young. You're going to have to stick a second tight end on the outside to help him chip at this guy. You're going to have to run the ball. And it doesn't even have to be the most effective running game, but you'll have to stick to it. I believe this will be a low-scoring defensive game. A matter of fact, I believe there won't be much scoring at all in the first half, as both these teams will play conservative offenses. Both these teams have very physical defenses. You can make the case two of the top defenses in the league amongst a few others. The Giants are getting back Aziz, and they're going to get the debut of the first-round superstar Kayvon Thibbs. They brought in Jalen Smith. Okay, the young secondary's been playing pretty well and holding its own. Led by a star, Xavier McKinney, who can play back and come up in the box. And you have a guy like Love who's emerged as a hell of a player. Ward, Ximenez. So you got a rotation going on. They will be without Leo Williams, but Dexter Lawrence has emerged as a leader on this team. And nobody pounded that guy's name more than I a year ago when other people wanted to move on from him. And that's what it is. The Giants are ready. They've been hearing whispers around the league that they're 2-0, but they're really not a 2-0 team. They're not that good. Their quarterback is holding them back. I admit, Daniel Jones has not come along as quickly as we thought. He seems to be having some road bumps. He's made some plays. He's also missed a lot of plays. The problem is when you're in year 4, Daniel Jones should be ahead of where he is. And yes, the Jones lovers, and I was one of them for years. And it's not that I'm not rooting for Jones, but I've kind of on the fence and realized that if this continues, the Giants will be drafting a young new quarterback next year, as most GMs and coaches usually want to go get their own. So the writing's kind of on the wall. This is the biggest game of Daniel Jones' career this Monday night. Whether you like it or not, I give you the facts, the truth. Monday night, Daniel Jones comes out in front of the nation on a 2-0 Giants team, and a lot of people think it's despite of him. And they'll have to stick with the running game, and even if it's not so effective, just to keep the game at hand. You got to play the game for what the game is, and this is going to be a low-scoring defensive game, especially in the first half. But somewhere in this game, Daniel Jones is going to have to make a couple of throws over the top. Okay? The dink and dunk is not going to work Monday night. This is the biggest game of Daniel Jones' career. He's going to have to show up, and he's going to have to make some throws. And I believe at some point in this game, Daniel Jones is going to have to go win this game. And a lot of fans want to see him win it with his arm. You take a win how you can get it. A win's a win. I don't care if it's 13-10. This is a big game for Daniel Jones. And what worries me about this game is that the two defenses are going to play so intense and so well that this game's going to come down to which of these two quarterbacks is going to make the big mistake. The sack, fumble, or the interception. I believe this game comes down to who makes the big special teams play and which quarterback makes that one big turnover. And that's going to decide this football game. I think the New York Giants are ready. I know this fan base is starving, and I know that stadium is going to be off the walls, and you're going to have guys like Carl Banks and Lawrence Taylor on that sideline. And boy, it's going to ignite certain guys like Kayvon Thibbs and Aziz. And let's be honest, when Parsons meets Lawrence Taylor and looks over to the sideline, sees him, it's gonna fuel that man's engine also. Not that he needs any more fire. Because Micah Parsons, whether you like this or not, is wrecking the league. And he can easily wreck this football game. So we better have planned for him. And that's just the facts. I'm going to give you the games, and we'll come back to the Giants game at the end. The games. Game number 1. This is the Miz's picks for the week. And not to toot my horn, but I will. The Miz went 6 for 6 last week, so if any of you were looking at the picks and they were with the spreads, the Miz helped you do pretty damn well last Sunday. 6 for 6, including 2 dogs wins outright. The Lions and the Jets. I gave them to you. You got them here. We'll go out on a ledge this week and take some chances. The Saints are at Carolina. Carolina's at home, desperate 0-2. They're plus 2.5, and the coach's job is on the line. Let's be serious now. The Carolina Panthers are plus 2.5. If you're a guy who lives by the spreads, you buy a point, you make them 3.5. You're covered by a field goal. Carolina plus 3.5. Take the Panthers. The Miz telling you right now the Carolina Panthers win this game outright. They win this game at home and save their season for now. Game number 2. Kansas City at the Colts. The Chiefs are roaring. There were people that were actually delusional enough to think the Chiefs weren't going to be the same. I laughed at that all summer long. And I told you as long as the Chiefs have Mahomes and Andy Reid, they're one of the best teams in football. Nothing will change. The only thing they did was ramped up that defense and made it elite, which was smart. Kansas City goes to the Colts. The Colts are 1-0-1, and they're in desperate need of a win. And the Colts are home, and they're plus 5.5. Take the plus 5.5. If you can buy another half and make it to plus 6, that's the smart way to go. Take the points. Take the Colts. Don't be shocked if the Colts win this game outright. I'm telling you right here, the Colts win this game. But you take the points, you're safe. Game number 3 in NFC East. Early season showdown. The Eagles at Washington. And I don't care about that political stuff. They'll always be the Redskins to me. But whatever you call them today. Commanders, whatever. Washington. Washington's plus 6.5 at home. The Eagles are 2-0. They're coming off a monster win on Monday night. They're high as a kite. They're downright arrogant and cocky, talking about a big season. You know what? They may have a big season, but not today. Washington needs this game. They're a formidable division rival. The Washington's plus 6.5, okay? Take the plus 6.5. If you could buy a half and make it an even 7 touchdown, you take Washington plus the points, you're safe. The Miz is on a roll today, and he's giving you the underdogs, and the Washington Redskins win this game outright, I feel. But you are straight with the points, plus 6.5 or plus 7. Take Washington in this game. Game number 4, the Baltimore Ravens are at the New England Patriots. This is a big game in the AFC over the years. It still is. The Patriots bounced back last week to save face. Their games won't be pretty this year. They'll grind out and win ugly games. But as long as you got Belichick, he'll find a way to get them wins here and there. And I don't think they'd be worse than 9 wins. The Ravens are a strong team. They blew a monster game to Miami last week, and that's going to sting a little. But Lamar Jackson is a great player in this league. And they have one of the top coaches in Harbaugh. New England's plus 2.5 at home, and Belichick will use that as a disrespectful slap in the face. I'm going to take the Patriots plus 2.5. If you could buy a half, make it 3 if you're a spread guy. I think the Pats can win this game outright. But New England plus 2.5. Game number 5, the Raiders and the Titans. Battle of the 0-2, the biggest desperation game on the schedule this week. One of these team seasons will be on the brink of over, and another one, they'll be saved. It's the Raiders and the Titans. I like the players that the Raiders have. I like their defensive line. And I think Carr steps up here. There's something not right in Tennessee. The Titans look off, and I think it's going to be a fallback season to rebuild. And you might even see Malik Willis after this game, because it might be time to go with the kid for the future, because the Raiders are going to win this game. The Raiders win this game outright and step up to 1-2. The Titans will be 0-3 and in turmoil. And then we'll go to the 2 local New York teams. Cincinnati's 0-2. Their season's on the line. They are an extremely good, talented team with some holes in their O-line. They went to the Super Bowl last year, even though I always thought they didn't belong there. Not that they didn't belong there, but they kind of stumbled into it. Well, whatever it was, they were there and they gave the Rams a good game. The Cincinnati Bengals are a talented team, but they find themselves 0-2. Coming off of a loss, and I'm sorry to say, they got physically beat up in Dallas by that Dallas defense. Cincinnati comes to the Jets. The Jets are coming off a win. I don't mean to poo-poo on their win. They got lucky. They were down by 13 in the final minute and a half, okay? The Browns decided to stop playing. They were already celebrating their win. The Jets had a breakaway deep pass where a corner decided to just stare and not defend it because he figured no big deal, the game's over anyway. Well, on the next play, the Jets recovered an onside kick and went on to win that game. They stole the game 31-30. Let's be honest, they stole the game. They did not look good in that game. Their defense does not look good at all. This is a defensive head coach that was brought in here for defense, and so far he's done nothing with it. And I challenge Salah to show me this week that the Jets have a defense. You have 2 defensive ends that are doing nothing. It's time for you to step up and scheme a pass rush. We all knew the secondary wouldn't be that strong. Your defense is led by your front 7, and right now it's disappointing. But you did win a game on the road, and I can't take that away in the NFL. The Jets are 1-1 coming home, but they are facing a Cincinnati animal, a desperate animal, backed into a corner at the wrong time. And the Jets haven't been a good home team in years. I think the Jets will be all right this year, but I think they're catching Cincinnati on a very, very, very bad week. Cincinnati's season is right here on the line, and they are not going to lose this game or their season this early. The Bengals come into MetLife and they're going to win this game. And I got them winning this game. 27-17, Cincinnati. And then Monday night, the whiteout at MetLife, under the lights of the nation. And don't think for a second the lights won't be on Daniel Jones. Dallas's defense, as I said earlier, is very strong. The Giants' defense is physical and strong. Wink knows what he's doing. Dallas can run the ball. The Giants will run the ball. I think you're going to see not much scoring in the first half. The offenses will try to open it up in the second half to a degree. I don't think you're going to see a big offensive game here. This game will be dominated by both defenses. And as I said earlier, the stadium's going to be nuts. Dallas has a backup quarterback, but he's not bad. He's a really good game manager. Actually, he could do a little more than that. He makes his throws. But the Giants will bring the pressure. Wink's going to dial up the blitz all throughout the game. Dallas has a man that can wreck the football game, as he's been wrecking the league since the day he stepped into the league, and Micah Parsons. You got Lawrence on the other side. This is going to be some game, man. This is the biggest game for the Giants since 2016. And a chance to show the nation that the Giants are not that bend-over, stepped-on team that they've been the last 6 years. That this new Giants team is different. Times are changing. The Giants are 2-0 for a reason. It's a chance to show the country. And I think, like I said earlier, this game's going to come down to two things. One, special teams is going to make a play in this game. And one quarterback is going to cough up a ball somewhere deep in their zone that's going to cost them big in this game. And who's the one to make the mistake is going to lose. I think the game's going to be that close. This game will be played like a playoff game. And it'll be a playoff atmosphere in a whiteout. And you're going to have legends like Carl Banks and Lawrence Taylor on the field. And Kayvon Thibbs playing in his first game. And Parsons across the way, who a lot of people think, and so do I, plays exactly just like LT played. Now, nobody's Lawrence Taylor. That's the GOAT. 56. But this kid Parsons is going to have a career that's going to be somewhere near there. And it's not a disrespect. It's a compliment. I'll tell you what, man. Monday night in the Meadowlands. Because to me, it's still the Meadowlands. The New York Giants home. The Giants send a message to the country that they are coming, and they are coming quicker than you thought. And it's because we have, right now, one of the best coaching staffs in football. Through 2-3 weeks in this league. The Giants will go out and grind this game out. They will step up to the level of competition. I'm sorry, he's not a bad quarterback, but the Cowboys don't have their starting quarterback, and their O-line has some problems. And this Giants D-line, as the 4 quarters go on, I think will take advantage of it in the second half. And we got the closers to close the game out in the fourth quarter. The Giants and Daniel Jones will go get this game. The Giants will be 3-0. 23-17 New York Giants. The Giants are -1 in this game, so it's basically a pick of the New York Giants win this game. Because the Cowboys are right for the picking in week 3. Because of whatever the circumstances are, I don't care. A W's a W. And when you go to 3-0 in the NFL after you've been 0-5 pretty much every year for the last 5 years, that's a message sent. The Giants win this game 23-17. They go to 3-0. And the Giants, for the first time in 6 years, have a real football season staring them in the face. And that's the bottom line and the Miz picks for week 3.